We are in Eyn Yaakov and we are in Gemara Shabbat. Please like the channel and please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Okay, one day I'll get this. So it says, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Zeiri. So Rabbi Yitzchak bar Zeiri said, some say that really Rav Shimon ben Gezerah said, my Korah, what is the verse that proves what we said above, that namely that the either the people in the time where everybody said, when the people of the tzaddikim of that generation will die for the sins of their generation, and they're going to, as a result, give an atonement to their generation, or the children of that generation who are learning in the schools Torah, and because they're learning it and they are pure, so they are going to be punished for the sins. Where do we get that sort of a thought from? So it says, the verse says, Im lo teidi'i lach ayafa benashim, if you know not where to graze or fairs of women, tzi'i lach ve'ikve hatzom, follow the footsteps of the sheep, then you can graze your kids, as in sheep, among the dwellings of the other shepherds. And concerning this verse we say, Gediyim hamushkanin al haroim. The implication is that the kids are the collateral for the shepherds. So what's going on here? He explains, the exposition focuses on the end of the verse, which states, Re'i et gediyitayich al mishkanot haroim, that you can graze your kids among the dwellings of the other shepherds. So the Gemara relates the word mishkanot, dwellings, to the homonym mashkon, collateral, thus reading the verse as implying that the kids, the young kids as in goats again, and they will now say young school children, can serve as a collateral for the shepherds, namely the scholars and the leaders of the generation. Should the generation be bereft of scholars, the school children are the collateral and can be made to bear the brunt of the generation's iniquity. Proceeding along these lines, Rashi provides the following homiletic interpretation of the following verse. If you do not know how to observe my commandments, then follow the footsteps of the sheep, namely seek mercy from God in the merits of the patriarchs, so that your kids will not serve as collateral for the shepherds. So here we're seeing that there's a verse that they're basing it upon, because otherwise it sounds very cruel, right? How could it be that somebody else is dying for my sins? It's not fair. Seemingly not fair. So the answer is that they're the collateral. Our kids, our children are the collateral for the righteous kids, the righteous children who are learning. When they die from this, what was it called? Askara. From the Askara, from this plague. So why they die? Because really they shouldn't have died. They were studying Torah. They did everything right. No, because they were the collateral. Same thing with the tzaddikim. Now, for the tzaddikim, the reason the tzaddikim would die, in addition to being collateral, is that they should have been helping people become good, follow the Torah. In other words, it's never good enough just to follow the Torah on your own. You're always supposed to try to be an influence on the generation. Like we were talking about before the tape started, you have to sell the product. You have to sell the product. I have to make you want to do it. And I have to make you realize that you need this. If you ever watch QBC, that's a home shopping channel, okay? Yeah. I have not watched it, but my wife always tells me that it's fantastic to watch these things because of how they sell it. Because what happens is they have a product that you never thought in your life you would need, but when you see it, they present in such a way you say, how can I live without that? I have to peel there was one I remember that the guy was trying to sell how to cut potatoes and make French fries. Now, for me, in the old days, how do you make French fries in the old days? You take a knife, and you cut it up, and you make and you throw it in. It's the same way you make potato chips. For the most part, it's just I make one thicker, one thinner, whatever. Okay, and you do like that. Now, what they convince you was, can you imagine that takes you all the time, and you can get caught in all this. Here you go, bang, 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 and it's done. You have 5 pounds of tomato and potatoes, like French fries in 2 minutes. Well, how can I not have that? I need that. Once I need that.
And with rush delivery.
Or there was even one better. This I saw in my, I actually used to sell it in my mail order business, but it was a rack that you put in your refrigerator to hold your cans. So people like the can of beer, the can of soda.
Sideways that it sort of fed down.
Yeah, exactly. It only cost $10. A piece of plastic that cost the manufacturer maybe 10 cents, okay, would cost the wholesaler maybe $2.50, whatever it was. We're selling it for 10.
Do you have any left?
No, I don't. Okay. Darn. It was many years ago I was in that business. But the point is, I sell you, look at the space you save, blah, 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 and all this. And people are buying this. Of course, it breaks pretty quick, so then you have to buy another one. But but they loved it when they were seeing it. It's unbelievable how much space I can save. Okay, great. What you do is create the need. So if the tzaddikim would have created the need in their generation to say why it's so important to do A, B, and C, whatever the mitzvah we're talking about, and they would have sold it good, so then everybody would have followed along. But they didn't. But you can't. That's for the tzaddikim. You can't say that about the children. So the children really become the collateral because the children aren't selling anything. They can't sell. You can't blame. You can't say you should have sold this. So what happens is we're using that verse to say that they were your collateral. And let's face it, when I default on a loan, they're going to go for my collateral. Yeah. Whatever that collateral is. That's it. So they take the kids. That's why Hashem would give these kids Ashkara. Okay. So now we continue on. It says, so the above Braita was cited to clarify the position of Rabbi Elazar. And it says, Shema Mina, so learn from this, that when Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Yossi, said that Askara comes because of slanderous speech, Af al Lashon Hara Namikama, he is also saying that it comes even for slanderous speech, not just for it, but even for. And Shema Mina, we learn that this is indeed so. Okay, and he explains that in the later Braita, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Yossi, stated that Askara comes from neglect of Meiser, which again was the tithes. Thus, when he stated earlier that Askara comes on account of slander, he must have meant even on account of slander. Okay, great. So now, if you remember before, it says in the Braita quote above, Rabbi Yehuda was introduced as Rosh Hamadabrim Mikol Makom, the first of the speakers in every place. So the Gemara now questions how he received this unusual appellation. So if Amai Karule Rosh Hamidabrim B'chol Makom, you still have this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And why do they call him the first of the speakers in every place? So here's what happened. The Yadve, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon. It once happened that Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai were sitting together. The rabbi liked to sit together, apparently have a cup of coffee here. So, V'yativ Yehuda ben Gerim Gabayu, and Yehuda, the son of Gerim, were sitting next to them. Why is he called that? Because he was the son of proselytes. And so the proselyte didn't have a Hebrew name, I'm guessing, because he's a proselyte. Well, he should have actually. He probably was given a Hebrew name, but for whatever reasons, they didn't use that name. In other words, when a person converts, you get to pick your name, right? So you can pick Yehuda, whatever he's going to pick. And that should be, his children would be called by the Aliyah of Ploni ben Yehuda. So why are they calling this guy Gerim? Because for whatever reasons they wanted to identify that he was, or he identified that he was from Gerim. I'm not sure why he would want to keep that around, but it says, Rashi says he was a Ben Givigor. Yeah, both parents were converted. So I don't know. I'm not sure why they kept that that name appellation going on. So, but so he says, Patach Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda started a discussion and said, how admirable are the deeds of this nation, namely the Romans, who ruled Eretz Yisrael at the time. Now, let's understand something. The Romans weren't the Jews' best friends. Okay? The Romans wanted taxes. If I want to just be business-like about this. They wanted their taxes. They didn't want rebellion. If you were good with them, they didn't really care. But every once in a while, you had a cruel guy come in. They want to sell their product, their religion, whatever, and the Jews didn't want that. But at the same time, they tried to let everybody rule their own little fiefdoms. But okay, so Rabbi Yehuda is saying how wonderful these deeds. That's great. Why? Tiknu Shvakim throughout the land. They've established marketplaces, and it says they have. So Rashi explains they have performed careful urban planning, setting up cities in such a way that marketplaces are conveniently situated and well laid out. It's great. We have marketplaces. Tiknu Gesharim. They've established bridges over waterways. It's better than.
You know, the only thing missing, they keep the trains running on time.
There you go.
That was the only observation missing.
They didn't get the.
They like Stalin, he kept the trains running on time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, again, but think about that. This guy's looking at the positive. He's saying how beautiful this is. Beautiful.
Hitler built the Volkswagen, yeah?
Is that it?
Hitler
Okay.
produced the Volkswagen.
He doesn't stop there. He says, Tiknu Gesharim. They've established bridges over waterways. We don't have to wade through the water. We can cross the bridges. Fantastic. Tiknu Mirchatzo. They've even established bathhouses. Good, we can take a bath. Great. Okay, we can go to the sauna. Tremendous. They've done so much. How wonderful a nation. Beautiful. I love what they're doing. Okay? Yeah.
I'm thinking about something. No, there's a scene. There's a movie called Monty Python, The Life of Brian.
Right.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie where all the people are getting around. And it's like they're like, what did Romans ever do for us? They're Imperials are like they've only given us public transportation and plumbing, plumbing and roads too, a little bit about libraries, too, but besides that, they've done nothing for us.
Right. Okay. So one of the famous, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's just the same
Okay.
conversation.
Right. So, well, you don't. We'll see. We're not backwards yet. That's only one opinion.
Right.
Okay, now let's continue. So Rabbi Yossi Shatak, upon hearing Rabbi Yehuda's praise of the Roman occupation, Rabbi Yossi remained silent. He didn't want to get involved in the conversation. Not Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. But Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, however, answered and said, Kol masha tiknu lo tiknu el tzorach atzman. Everything they established only to serve their own needs. Okay? Tiknu shavakim. Why do they establish marketplaces? Lahoshib and zonot, in order to quarter harlots therein. That's what they put. So, it's a one-stop shop. Okay. They have everything there, but they really wanted to give their zonot, their prostitutes, a way to make a living. So the way to make a living is to set them up in the marketplaces, have marketplaces. Well, while you're getting shopping, you can do your other stuff too. Fine, shkach. Okay, so that was just one thing. Mirchatzo, when it comes to the bathhouses, they made to beautify their own bodies. They didn't do it for us. That's a Monty Python skit. Okay,
he must have known this.
They probably did their research. Gesharim lito mehem meches. They built bridges in order to collect tolls for those who traverse them. So it's not. They didn't do anything for us. Okay, as you would say, make the trains run on time. It wasn't for us. This is what they're doing. Okay, it was all for them, nothing for us. Leave me alone. So it goes back to your library. But yeah, it was for them, but they didn't do everything for us, though. They did it for them. Okay. So now what happens? Halach, you would have been Gerim, V'sipir Sivrayim. So now Yehuda, the son of the Ben Gerim, who witnessed the exchange between these Tanaim, went and recounted the words to some of the associates. Now, this is never a smart thing to do, by the way. Okay, you never really want to, when you're getting involved in politics, okay, you really never want to report what leaders have said. It's just not a smart thing to do. Because certainly if one is pro and one is against. It would be like today, if I would get the rabbis together and we would have a private meeting, all the rabbis in town. And so some are pro-Trump and the Republicans, some are anti-Trump and Republicans. Okay. Now, can you imagine if I would go out, they would have that conversation, and I, who am just listening to it, go out and say, this is what they said. Verbatim, this is what they said. Okay. So now what happens? the synagogue who likes Mr. Trump, President Trump, and the Republicans, they suddenly get funding. The ones who don't. And if you want a proof of that, by the way, you just have to think back to when Richard Nixon was elected, and the second time, for the second term, and Massachusetts went against him because he wasn't Democrat, so it wasn't really a brain child that we wouldn't vote for him in. And because we didn't vote him in, he got revenge on the state. He cut things to the state. It was total revenge. That's what they claim. It was total revenge because we didn't vote him in. Everybody else, for the most part, did. They bent to his thing. But it was interesting that that's the reason they gave, besides there were a bunch of crooks in Massachusetts anyway, because they steal all the money from the poor. Yes, I'm saying that. Yes, I said. From the poor people who live there. They rip us off constantly. That's why they don't call it Massachusetts. They call it Taxachusetts. For a good reason, okay? You have the Windy City here because they're a bunch of liars and, vote early, vote often. Yeah. That's the Chicago for you, okay? Yeah. So Massachusetts is Taxachusetts, okay? I love Mass, but really they're a bunch of crooks.
There is one thing they do that I like, along with several other states.
Yeah.
They refer to themselves as a Commonwealth.
Oh. Okay.
I like that idea.
Okay. They're neither common, but the wealth is there. But it's not for us.
Which you will. I like the idea of it.
Right. Okay. But I'm just saying that's what it was. That you can, once you show your true colors, the politician or the leaders will treat you appropriately, or treat you accordingly, not appropriately. No. So that's what happens here. So he says in 23, he told his students about the discussion, or he told his parents. Either way, we don't know who he told. We want to make sure everybody understands his intent was not malicious, however, and he certainly did not directly inform the Romans of the conversation. Nevertheless, word of the exchange eventually reached the ears of the authorities, as the Gemara proceeds to recount. Nevertheless, despite his innocuous intentions, his words are indeed lashon hara, and then so he also says, for an explanation of why tonight we're having this discussion on why Rabbi Yehuda praised the Romans, he sends you to the Maharsha. He's not willing to explain it right here. Okay, fine. So let's just go with that for right now. So again, Halach Yehuda ben Gerim v'sipel l'dvreihem. So Yehuda, like I said, Yehuda ben Gerim told the exchange, v'nishm'u l'malchut, and eventually reports of the conversation were heard by governing authorities. Amru, the authorities then proclaimed the following decree. Yehuda that praised, elevated the stature of Romans, yet Allah, he too shall be elevated. So what does that mean? One of the ways Romans elevated him was by proclaiming that he be given the honor of speaking first at every occasion. And so Tosfot says he was also indicates who honored it in other ways, but that's basically why he was the first one to give the invocation, because that's how they honored him since he honored them. Yosef who remained silent and failed to praise the Romans himself, Yigle Sipore, he shall be exiled to the town of Sipori. And Sipori, he says, was a town in the Galilee that later became the seat of Sanhedrin under Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. But the point is he was sent out. Shimon ben Yochai, we all know Shimon ben Yochai. This is the person who is going to be famous for Lag BaOmer, and so on and so forth. Okay, so Shagina, he was one who hid in the cave for 12 years with his son. So because he was under being going to be arrested otherwise. So Shimon Shagina and Shimon ben Yochai, who denigrated the Romans, Yehareg, he shall be executed.
This is what he went from?
Yep. He was on the lamb, as they say. So Azal Huberei Tashu Be'evet Rashi, upon hearing that a death sentence had been passed upon him, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and his son Rabbi Elazar ran away and hid in the study hall. What better way to do it? You run away, you go to a study hall, you barricade yourself into yeshiva, nobody sees you anyway, you're just one of the people. Okay, great. Okay. Kol yom ahavi my tele debitu. So every day, Rabbi Shimon's wife would bring them rifta v'chuza damaya v'karache, bread and a small pitcher of water, and they would eat this to sustain themselves. Kita kifka zirta. When, however, the decree intensified, the Romans escalated their hunt for the fugitives. Amar alei lebrei. So Rav Shimon said to his son, Nashim daitin kala aleihen. The minds of women are easily swayed. Dilma mitzarei la umagleilan. Perhaps the Romans will torture your mother, and she will reveal our hiding place to them. So what does that mean? Okay, that women's minds shall light upon them. They can be persuaded. So he says they're going to torture her, and she'll give up our place. So let's get out of here now while we still can. Okay, and by the way, if he would have told her where she's going, then it wouldn't have helped. So they have to escape. So she's basically abandoned.
She'll show up with the food and the water and not know where they are, and not actually know where they are.
Right, and so, but they're not there anymore. So that's what it was. So with this consideration in mind, the two sought out a more secure hiding place, whose location would be unknown even to his wife. So they then went and hid themselves in a cave. Food was thus no longer brought to them. So what happens? But a miracle happened. And a carob tree and a spring of water were created for them, and they drew their sustenance from these sources. So the Maharshal comments that the creation of the carob tree represented a miracle within a miracle. For under normal circumstances, it takes 70 years for a carob tree to bear its fruits. However, here, the fruit was produced immediately. Now, if anybody's ever had a carob, I don't know, that to me, there's not much there. Maybe if they're fresh carobs, they're good, but I heard that fresh carobs are also not good because they're like spears to your body. So I'm not sure why the Hashem would give him this tree versus some other tree, and also they're not going to gain a lot of weight with this sort of a tree. So it's just interesting that Hashem, out of all the trees that he could create, apple trees and so on and so forth, creates the carob tree. Okay. So now, what happens? They would shed their clothes, and would sit covered up in sand up to their necks. Why would they do this? Why would they take off their clothes? In order to preserve their clothing. They wore it as little as possible. As the Gemara explained, they donned it only in time of tefillah, because sweat and everything else is going to wear out your clothes. They don't know how long they're going to be hidden. Right? If I don't know how long I have to hide away for, so I better start reserving things. Okay. Now the other question could be, if you saw that you have a carob tree created for you, why wouldn't you think that God would make your clothes like the days of Man? He's going to keep giving you clothes. I mean, no. So yeah, what?
Not relying on miracles.
Could be that could be you can't rely upon miracles. Could be all those things, right? So Kuliyoma, the Gar say all day long they would study together, and according to tradition, he said it was during this time in this cave that Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai composed the Zohar, the book of Kabbalah. Okay, there you go. And so studied Torah the whole day, and V'idan Saloi, and when the times came for prayer, Lavshu Michasu Umitzalu, they would get dressed, cover themselves, and daven. Then they would return and shed their clothes, immerse themselves in sand once again, so that the clothes would not wear out from prolonged use. So you could ask a couple of questions on this. Wait a second. For tefillah, you decide you're going to come out of the sand, and you're going to put on your clothes, and you're going to daven. Well, why? How can you learn naked? So you're going to say you covered yourself with sand. Okay, fine. So if you cover yourself with sand and you can now learn Torah, why can't you just daven the same way?
Yeah, just the same language and the same.
Well, it's the same. It's also the same holiness. So you are standing up. You're standing up in the immersed in sand.
Oh, you're just buried.
You're just buried. Your head's anything sticking
How
up.
would they bury themselves?
What?
How would they bury themselves?
Well, it was tough only for the guy who went last.
Yeah.
Oh, they put the back on themselves. You never went to the beach.
Made a hole in
You never went to the beach.
Yeah, but usually other people do that for you.
You can do it yourself. Take a little shovel. You're a little kid. Come on. A little and then you cover yourself. What?
We were landlocked. The most
Landlocked?
Yeah, most water we ever got to was either at the pool or by fresh water.
Okay, so if you
there was more grass.
so you should be zeiche to go to the lake, Okay, go to the lake and you'll see kids bury themselves.
Okay.
They bury themselves. They don't have to stand up. Maybe they weren't standing up.
Yeah.
Maybe they just want to stand up. Maybe that's what the shot is. They could have been lying down. Could have been, but they covered. The point is they cover themselves. I'm thinking you're right. 6 feet down. I mean,
Makes more sense that they're laying down.
yeah, they're laying down. So that's why they have to get up. Okay, that would make sense. What?
The imagery that comes to mind is like the heads buried up to their necks in the sand with the ants clawing. Like and so I imagine two guys in a cave with their heads up to the sand, like it's just two heads in a cave, their arms out, reading Torah. Yeah.
Well, they don't. There was no
There's no
books,
It's
right?
just
There's
heads
no
up.
books. They were just talking about it. Right. Okay. They didn't have books.
Maybe they have an overhead projector.
Oh, that could be. Okay, there you go.
Waiting for football, yeah.
So anyway, Idvu Tresat Shnei B'Marta. They dwelled securely in this cave for 12 years, which means the mother didn't know where they were for 12 years. Have that in mind, okay? And we don't hear any more about that. So apparently she just assumed that they ran away, and that's it. So Actually, Yahu become a pitcha de Marta. So then one day Elijah, the prophet, he comes back, right? Elijah from the Tanakh, and that's who we're talking about. He comes back and stood at the mouth of the cave. Amar, and he proclaimed, Man lo de levar Yochai de mitkizar. Who will inform the son of Yochai that Caesar has died? There's your enemy has died. Now you can leave the cave. So that is, Elijah comes back just to tell him what's going on. Uvatel gezirte, and the decree has been annulled. Nafku Rav Yoshim ben Yochai and the son heard this, and they emerged from the cave. So they're all set, okay? And now what happens is, so Chazu Inche, as they ventured back to civilization, they saw some people, the Kai Karbe Vizare, who were plowing a field and sowing crops there. Amar, angered by this, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai declared, Manichin Chaya Olam ve'oskim Chaya Sha'ah. These people are forsaking the pursuit of the life to come, the life of the world to come, and occupy themselves instead with concerns of transitory life. He sees people working, right? He's been sitting in the cave for 12 years, learning Torah, Zohar, doing what he's doing. He's living off the land. God is giving him carrot tree, water, whatever you want. So he comes out and he sees people working. He says, what kind of nonsense is this? Why are you working? You should be learning. That's all it is. That's life. You're looking for the next world, not this world. This world is nothing. This world is shadow. It's transitory life. Okay. So he says, and he explains, that is the forsaken study of Torah in favor of pursuing a livelihood. Rav Shimon ben Yochai advocated the position that one who devotes his life to the pursuit of Hashem's will find himself sustained by God. He need not labor unduly to provide for his needs. He could understand it. Yeah.
So he understood that they weren't just working and learning Torah, they were just working.
Even if they were learning Torah later. He said, why would you give up
learning
Torah 24/7 to do this?
So I saw the unduly part. They're forsaking Torah. You're working to avoid Torah. That's what it seemed like he was upset about. Not just that they're working and not learning Torah.
No, he says you need not labor unduly to provide for his needs.
Right.
Why do you work?
Provide for your needs.
Why though?
To sustain yourself.
Why? If God's going to give it to you, if we all will all agree on one point. I'm going to tell you one point we all have to agree on. God is giving you the food, regardless of how it's coming. God is provided for food. Yes,
Right.
we all have to agree to that. If we don't agree to that, then it falls apart. So I say, like your brother said, I can't rely upon a miracle. So what I do is I convince myself I must do work in order to make money, in order to have the wherewithal to go to the store to buy the food. Yes? All agree to that? That's the only reason I work. Or I work in order to put gas in my car, or I can buy a car, or I can buy a bike, whatever it is. I work so I'll have money to do that. That's all it means. It's the only reason we work. We don't work because we enjoy work. That's the biggest lie in history. Nobody enjoys work. We enjoy fixing something once in a while if I really want to. But if I have to work, I asked somebody to come to Minyan one time. I said, can you come to this Minyan? He said, can you make a commitment? He said, I can't commit to that. So why not? He said, then it'll be like work. I don't want to see it meaning as work. I want it to be a holy endeavor. I said, but I have to know people are coming. I can't tell. I don't want to make it like that. If I don't show up, I'll feel bad. If I show up, I'll see it like work. He gives me a whole secretary about this. Okay, so he's not doing it now. He goes to Minyan every day. It's not that he doesn't go to Minyan, but he didn't want to make a commitment because that would be like work. Okay, and why do I go to work? Only because I want things, and the only way to get things, in my mind, is to work. And so Rabbi Shimon ben Yochanan is saying, you're wrong. The way to do things is to daven, to learn. Everything comes to you. Look outside my cave. I had a carob tree. I had everything I needed. There was nothing I didn't need. I had everything. God gave it to me for learning. He even sent me Eliyahu Navi to tell me, hey, you can go home. Okay, shkoyach. But, everything was there. So why would you people think you need this? Doesn't make sense. Right? That's what he's upset about. That's why he's saying unduly. You think you have to do this so God will give you food, so God will give you a house, so God will give you this and that. You're wrong. And the truth is, he was right.
There was another tree that whose fruit wasn't such a gift.
You're talking about the tree of knowledge?
That one.
Yeah, so it was...
Why would they eat any more willingly this carob thing nobody ever heard of than the apple, which didn't seem to
It was fruit. It wasn't apple, but it's for...
something.
Yeah, it was some sort of fruit. It was a fig tree, probably. But I'm just
Rather than seeing this thing as a temptation, this carob, rather than a deliverance, that you see it as a temptation, that it's not to be eaten.
Well, he have something. Oh, who are we talking about? In the garden?
I'm saying
in the Garden of Eden or here? Because we have two gardens here. So in this, he has to eat something. What he's saying is, I was fed for learning Torah all day. I didn't do anything else. God fed me. So why would you people think you have to work? I don't get it. He couldn't get it. It wasn't part of his Weltanschauung at that point. Okay. So
perspective, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So he says, let's continue. So I don't want to go too late. Just want to finish the story here. So kol makom shenot nehem. So therefore, thereafter, everywhere Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and his son would cast their eyes, miyad nisraf, the object of the vision would immediately be incinerated. And he explains because of their towering spiritual stature, everything they perceived as evil simply ceased to exist. So they saw somebody working, they looked at him, he died. Okay, got it. Yatz the bat kol. Suddenly a heavenly voice rang out and V'amar lehem and said to them, L'achriv olami yatzatem. Have you emerged from seclusion in order to destroy my world? What are you doing? You're looking at destroying my world. I made my world to work like this, so that people would have the choice. Do I work, Arbeit machen frei, to use a German concentration camp thing? Work makes me free. Do I do that? Or do I observe Torah? Do I read Torah? Do I learn Torah? That's my choice. I can either think that the fantasy is if I go to work, I get what I want, which is a fantasy. It's not true. It's just not true. Okay? Or do I learn Torah? Where I learn, by the way, since I don't need anything anymore, I just want to learn Torah. So now everything comes to me. So again, a matter of perspective at that point. So that's what he says. The Bakel comes up and says, did you leave in order to destroy my world? Chizru l'maradchem. Go back to the cave. Go back to the cave. That's it. Leave me alone. Hadu. So the two went and returned to the cave. Itivu betrays Yarachet Shata. They dwelled another 12 months and a whole full year. At that point, they said to themselves, Mishpat Risham Bel Gehenim, Shem Asechodesh, the sentence of evildoers in Gehenim endures for no more than 12 months, and our sentence is over. Perhaps our sentence has expired by now as well. So the heavenly voice then rang out and said, emerge from your cave. So it was 12 months, it was enough. Okay, let's go back to the real world. And so then what happens? We'll have to stop there, but you'll see what happens next. It's a very interesting story.
Yeah.